Everything from clothing to household items are getting more expensive each day. The world of fast fashion has complicated clothing production by outsourcing around the world to whoever can sew them the cheapest. And now you, the consumer, are paying the price with rising costs. American Giant is about keeping things simple and close to home. They aren't affected by tariffs because their products never leave the U.S. So when you buy from American Giant, you're taking a stand for hardworking people, local communities, and quality clothes. American Giant directly supports American manufacturers and ensures you aren't footing that tariff bill. Support American-made, tariff-free clothing with American Giant. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com. That's 20% off when you use code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com.
Coach, the energy out there felt different. What changed for the team today?
It was the new game day scratchers from the California Lottery. Players everything. Those games sent the team's energy through the roof.
Are you saying it was the off-field play that made the difference on the field?
Hey, a little play makes your day, and today, it made the game. That's all for now.
Coach, one more question.
Play the new Los Angeles Chargers, San Francisco 49ers, and Los Angeles Rams Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.
It's Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances and save an additional $1,000 when you buy 4 select LG major appliances. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5 amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt 20-volt max tool. Get the job done for less at Lowe's. We help. You save. Valid through 9/26. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Associate or Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
95.3 WBCK now presents Coach's Corner, live from Lakeview Ford. For over 6 decades, this has been your #1 source for all local sports information. Coach's Corner is proudly presented by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now, here's your host, Bill Broderick.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, in the big chair once again on WBCK for another week of Coach's Corner. Coming to you live from downtown Battle Creek at Lakeview Ford, Lincoln on the Motor Mile. For more than 60 years, Coach's Corner has been talking to the city high school coaches about the week in sports. And we will continue to do that as we head into our next week of the high school football season with our first coach of the morning. But first, here is the Lakeview Ford Lincoln Coach's Corner scoreboard. A big city rivalry game took center stage in week 4 on Friday night, with Penfield and Harbor Creek battling at the Ed Greenman Athletic Complex over at Harbor Creek. Harbor Creek used a big first half to roll to a 44-0 win. Elsewhere in the city, Lakeview hosted Portage Northern and lost 50-28. Battle Creek Central fell to Portage Central 55-0. And St. Phil lost to Bellevue 38-14. Also on Friday, Climax Scots hung 77 points on Colon in a win. Coldwater beat Jackson Northwest 45-20. Marshall lost to Dowagiac 41-22 in non-conference action. In other games, it was Stockbridge 12, Union City 0. Schoolcraft 53, Galesburg Augusta 28. Bronson 69, Cassopolis 28. Lawton 42, Delton Kellogg 13. St. Joseph beat Gull Lake 46-7. Jonesville got past Homer 38-9. Springfield shut out Maple Valley 35. Springport shut out Maple Valley 35-0. Olivet beat Sexton in the conference game 34-25. Mendon beat Athens 59-0. And Burr Oak beat Teconta 52-14. We will be back with our first coach of the morning after this commercial. This is Coach's Corner on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Coach's Corner on WBCK, brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, back here on Coach's Corner. We're here with our first coach of the morning, Coach Brett Vernon of the Lakeview Spartans. Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
We had Lakeview hosting a Hall of Fame night last night, and they brought in Portage Northern for that game, and Portage Northern came away with a 50-28 win. Talk about the start of that game and how that game kind of went along and evolved in the first half there?
Yeah, so, opportunities in the first half there, they started with the ball. We had a couple third and longs and really needed to get ourselves off the field. We didn't do that. They went down and scored right away. We got the ball. I actually started on our own 5. We went down for a 95-yard drive, scored to make it 7-8. From there, for the rest of the first half, we couldn't stop them. They continued to obviously roll with that run game that they have, and we gave them some good field position in between. Our offense stalled a little bit. They did some different things than what we saw, obviously, on film. Did a good job stacking the box a little bit, shutting down a run. We couldn't throw the ball very well from there. I went into halftime 28-7. And then come out and really our offense started kind of rolling there in the second half. We scored 3 times, got our run game going, made some adjustments there, and the kids did a great job of adjusting to what they were showing us. And then, defensively, we still got to find a way to get some stops on some people, and again, I say it every single week. That's the biggest thing that we got to be able to do as a team.
When you don't like the final score, but when you get a second half like that, when you come out and then you find something that clicks, have you seen that before, where that can move on to following weeks, where that can give you some drive and see that some confidence can come from that, and you can build on that kind of thing?
I mean, that's the hope. Hopefully that's where we're going to go into a week of practice and build off of some good things that we did offensively. I challenged the kids to be more physical this week, and I think they did that. We still got to have, when that opportunity arises to make a tackle, we got to do it. Ball's on the ground. We got to find a way to get the ball. We just got to take care of some of those opportunities that come around and be advantageous, in that aspect.
Austin Wildermuth had another big game for you. He continues to be productive on the ground. He had 2 touchdowns, and Adam Talbot added a score. Your quarterback, Isaiah Jackson, had a touchdown pass to Memphis Wirtz, and a lot of that coming, like you said, in the second half. The thing that gave you guys some trouble is that Portage Northern has a lot of good athletes, so they have some size and some good athletes that can stop you, but their D1 player did not play last night. But they do have enough talent to go around that didn't make a ton of difference, right?
Yeah, they're a physical team. That's the way they run, that little single wing offense where they're just pounding the football there. And they got a couple guys that really run the ball really hard, and those arm tackles that we're trying to bring people down with, weren't quite working there. Hopefully the Gregory Patrick kid is fine. He looked like he was somewhat healthy there, so hopefully everything's good with him. But yeah, he didn't play. But still physical up front. They did a good job of getting hats on hats offensively for them. And again, we've got to find a way to shore up our defense and get better in that realm. Offensively, Austin Wildermuth just running hard and just a great job of being a physical runner. Did a good job of being coached up last night. Bounced it a couple times when he should have kept it in tight. Coached him up, got it. He started following his blockers in front of him, and did a great job. And that really helped that second half momentum.
That's what you can maybe hang your hat on a little bit. I know you like your offensive line. You have some veterans there, and Austin Wildermuth that can take advantage of that. Who did you see on up front there that kind of played well for you?
Yeah, I think Jamie Boykins, he's a physical kid, and works hard when he's out on that field. And then my 2 guards there, Carlos Suarez, he continues to battle. Not the biggest kid in the world, but he's a physical kid and enjoys blocking up front. And we're still putting some things together on the offensive line. We still got to do better as a job with some of our steps. Some of our fundamental things, making sure that we do that. When we do that, we're a pretty good offensive line, and good things happen. Some holes open up. Austin can run for 5 yards without getting touched, and then he's finishing runs, from 8 to 10 yards there. That's the aspect of our game, and it goes back to we got to find a way to throw the football. We're struggling throwing the football right now. We got to get wide receivers open. We got to throw the ball to them when the wide receivers are open. And that's again our biggest next step.
You head into division play inside the SMAC next week. You're playing at Kalamazoo Central. They're generally big up front, and they are almost every year. What have you seen from them so far, and what do you like against your possibilities against them?
Sure. I was a little surprised with the score this week when they lost to Lakeshore there in kind of a convincingly fashion. So excited to see the film and see what happened there. But yeah, they're gonna have athletes on the field. They're gonna have size. They got Dewey Young at left tackle, who's another D1 offensive tackle type kid. And he was physical last year. He was really good. And so again, it's the same story every single week. We got to be physical. We got to be the hammers, make them the nails, and good things will happen for our football team.
Look forward to that next week. Lakeview's playing Kalamazoo Central, looking for a chance to get a win against the Maroon Giants in SMAC play, and we'll have hopefully a happy conversation next Saturday, Coach.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir.
We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning after this break on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Coach's Corner on 95.3 WBCK. Proudly brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Here's Coach's Corner.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, back here on Coach's Corner. We're here with our next Coach of the Morning, Coach Robbie Hatton of the Penfield Panthers. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Bill.
We had a big city rivalry game last night. That's always fun for all the high school football fans in the area, and a nice crowd over at Harbor Creek with Penfield coming in. Penfield came in with a 2-1 record and some high hopes going into that game, and the way you guys started that game, things were clicking early, and looked like you had something working there. Some penalties at the end of that drive kind of stopped that, and maybe that kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. But things look good for you guys early.
Yeah, absolutely. We liked how we executed that first drive. Our game plan was to, have some sustainable drives that took up some clock, and we did that first drive, and we just had some costly penalties that put us to 1st and 20, and then we still had a chance to get it, and we were real short on 4th down. I mean, it was really close, but that kind of took a little of the wind out of our sails. But we've got to find a way to bounce back after that. Harper came back and scored pretty quick after that, and then it just had a couple big miscues, that we just got to clean up and get better with. It's a long season. We still love our chances this year of, competing in every game that we can play in. And, that's the biggest thing we're trying to change is just compete every day, day in and day out.
Yeah, Harbor Creek did respond to that first drive, and they scored on a long kind of a catch and run there from a receiver, and then they added a quick touchdown a little bit later, and they were up 15-0 still in the first quarter, and then you guys find a little bit. You're playing from behind at that point. You guys want to throw the ball, and you guys have the people that can get that done. And then a couple of key turnovers in the passing game throughout the first half kind of stopped some drives from you, and kind of stubbed your toe there a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a couple things that we felt like we could take advantage of, and on the pick six, we had a route that was more of a spot route, and the guy ran the wrong route, so Calvin had to adjust his throw mid-thing. So, that one's not on Calvin. If we run it where it's supposed to be, I feel like we get a pretty decent-sized gain there. But, things happen. They're kids. They make mistakes, and we just try to clean them up and get better from that. I thought, we were decently efficient in the passing game. I thought Calvin Payson's had one of his best games, and it may not show for it on the stat line, but he was taking the reads that were given to him. He had a couple drops, but he threw the ball really well, efficiently. We just got to make some plays in space and do the little things right.
You guys also looked like on defense that you're going to try to take away the running game, which Harbor Creek's been doing a lot this year. They've been kind of hanging their hat on being able to run the ball, and you took them out of that a little bit, which, to your credit there, your defense stood up there, and that's the credit to you. You have a nice defensive line and some linebackers that can slow people down that way. The Harbor Creek quarterback ended up going 12 or 14 throwing as kind of a reaction to that, and it's kind of hard to stop both those situations sometimes. How did you see that from your side?
Yeah, our game plan this week was to stop the run. We know Harper loves to run the ball, and they should. They got some big guys up front and can move some piles. And, I thought we did a decent job of containing the run. I don't necessarily stopping the run, but we did a good job of containing it for what we thought we could do. And then, they spread us out a little bit and threw the ball. And, I thought we didn't play terrible, but we got a lot of things to clean up. We talk about ATD, which is attention to detail. And, if we get a couple things cleaned up, I think we can be all right and bounce back from this.
That's going to be the key going forward, right? This is, like we said, a rivalry game, and a lot of emotions on the field, and a lot of things going into this game. Penfield had some high hopes coming into this game, and we're looking for that. This is going to be the year you contend with Harper Creek, and now you have to kind of move forward from that. You have to turn the page. And how hard is that as a coach, and what's going to be your message this week? No,
we're all right, though. We talked about it last night in the end zone, and our number one goal right now is to find a way to get into the playoffs. And with us being a Division 5 school and playing all these Division 3 and Division 4s, we got a good chance. If we can go 4-5, 5-4, I think we'll get in. So, it's turn the page. We got Hastings on the clock now. We came out of the game pretty much healthy last night, which is a good thing. We're ready to get after it with Hastings and, keep going into our league schedule. It's all we have left. The rest of the season is league games. So, we're just going to keep healthy or try to stay healthy and, take each game 1 week at a time.
Yeah, that's the big thing for the Panthers. You guys still have a lot to play for. You do have the schedule that kind of sets up for that to have some possibilities down the road. A big game at home against Hastings. It'll be Hall of Fame night for the Penfield Panthers on Friday and hosting Hastings. What have you seen from Hastings so far in the early going?
Yeah, Hastings is a very disciplined team. They run their straight T stuff with, spread out wide receiver, and, they just want to put you to sleep and then hit you over the top with a nice pass. And, defensively, they're really good at setting the edge. They have a force player and a secondary player with their corner, and we got to find a ways to get our inside run game going. The last couple games, I felt like, even last night, some of our plays were more of an inside run than an outside run. We just got to get that going early, and we can't turn the ball over. And if we do that, we'll be all right.
Sounds like it could be a lot of fun next Friday. Penfield is hosting Hastings at home. The Panther crowd should be in full throat there at home. Hastings coming in, Interstate 8 conference battle, a big one for Penfield, and in this tough part of the middle part of their season schedule. Hopefully we'll be talking about a happy Panther group when we chat next week, Coach.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
All right. We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning here on WBCK 95.3 FM after this.
Coach's Corner on WBCK, brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, back here on Coach's Corner. We're here with our next Coach of the Morning, Coach Kevin Bennett of the St. Phil Fighting Tigers. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
St. Phil was on the road last night. They went over to Bellevue in 8-player division football and came up short, lost 38-14. Talk us through the early going of that game and how that kind of went.
Yeah, last night was a little tough tough pill to swallow. We wish we could get that one back. I felt like we played a heck of a ball game that first half. Had some really good momentum on our offensive drives, had some good defensive stops. Had a few things stall out there around the second quarter, but coming out of half, hats off to Bellevue. Their run game, we were having a hard time adjusting to it, and our guys, I think a lot of fatigue set in that second half, just them inching their way down the field, series after series. So we kind of saw the effects of conditioning that second half, especially with our guys going all three phases. So we had a couple players that, they put the team on their shoulders and got us in the end zone, a couple of times, and we had some good defensive stops. But, yeah, after some stalled out series here and there, we just couldn't quite get over the hurdle.
What was the score at halftime there for you guys?
I would have to check at halftime. I think we were down by 2 scores at halftime, yeah.
So, yeah, a good start to and like you said, you guys are so thin in terms of the roster and young players. If you have to get some long drives put on you, that can really wear on your guys, especially if they're playing defense and offense. Right?
That second half, I think that was the first time this season we saw that conditioning just really set in. And like I said, Bellevue, it was just nickel and diamond all the way down the field on defense, and those guys on D turning around to go to specials and right to O. And it was a good test for us, and just gives us some things that we got to work on here for the rest of our season.
Bellevue got a good game out of their running back. Cody Swanson had 265 yards rushing, 27 carries, and had 4 touchdowns. Your big running back, Brogan Lightfoot, had another nice game for you, 143 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. He had 15 tackles on defense, and Brogan's kind of doing it all for you right now. Right?
Yeah, like I said, he's one of those guys who's putting the team on his shoulders, and had a really great game for us in the rush attack. He's just got such great vision. And finds holes where there's none. I tell him that all the time, and just runs the ball hard. But then he goes right back out on defense, and just a phenomenal player for us, kind of at that corner hybrid linebacker position, and just flies to the ball. So his productivity is pretty amazing to see out there on the field. And we got a couple of freshmen that are just really surprising us too as the season goes on. A kid named Will, Ryder, Caleb, those guys on defense are really turning it on for us too here in the last couple of games. So it's really nice to see the development of our freshmen and to see how well they are progressing just game by game. And it's not just them. Like, we're seeing improvements every single week, and I guess that's all we can ask for, especially with a young team this year. So if we can just keep seeing improvement, keep seeing them getting better, we're going to be happy.
Yeah, your one senior, Ben Nelson's been playing with a lot of grit, but been kind of limping through the season here ever since an early season injury. Talk about him and how he's kind of come up big for you as a senior, trying to give what he can to the team, but he's playing banged up.
He's the epitome of heart. I mean, has a torn ACL right now, but he's still attending every single practice. He's there on the sideline coaching up those younger kids, being a senior, trying to pass off some of his football IQ and just help guys know what to do. And he's, until his surgery date, getting a few reps here and there, and just giving us everything he has, man. Our heart goes out to him being a senior with an injury like that. That's a tough one. So I know emotionally he's kind of struggling with it, but he's got such a great positive attitude that he's, team first.
Well, it doesn't get any easier for St. Phil. You guys are going over to Climax Scots. That's your rival team that you see a lot in terms of Climax Scots and St. Phil. Is in a co-op in a lot of sports, baseball especially, and soccer. And so those kids know each other. They see each other a lot. And Climax Scots just put 77 points on Colon last night. That game had a lot of points on both sides of the ball, which is why the Climax Scots had to keep scoring. But St. Phil always gets up for Climax Scots, but that's going to be a challenge, right?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you play Climax, there's a challenge there. I mean, those guys, they have a well-oiled machine, especially on their offensive scheme. So I think the good thing going into that game is there is a lot of fun when you have those relationships between players, like you said, who co-op with each other in other sports. And so it's always great to be able to go up against some of those guys that and I think that helps with adrenaline and the hype and just, preparing mentally that, hey, I want to go beat this guy. So, it's going to be a fun one next week. I hope that, we have a great week of practice. We're going to come out and we're going to scheme really hard against these guys and do everything we can to give us an advantage against a very solid football program.
We look forward to that. St. Phil is going to Climax Scots, playing on a Friday night in a league game there and a rivalry game between those schools. So it should be a lot of fun. And we'll talk to you next week, Coach, about that game.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning here on WBCK 95.3 FM after this.
Coach's Corner on 95.3 WBCK. Proudly brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Here's Coach's Corner.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, back here with our next coach of the morning here. We're with Coach Lauren Granger of the Battle Creek Central Bearcats. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Battle Creek Central ran up against one of the better teams in the entire state. They played Portage Central last night, ranked number 3 in the state, and you ran into buzzsaw there. Portage Central won 55-0. And talk about that Portage Central team and what you kind of saw there.
Well, they are who they say they are. That's probably the best Portage Central team I've ever seen. There are no weaknesses really on their defense. They're just very, very, very good on defense. And obviously we have scored some points this year, and we were looking maybe to prove a little something about having an offense that could produce against a good defense, and they proved that we could not. They play really tough off the edges, and they try to funnel everything back into their middle linebacker, who's committed to Central Florida for next year. He's just a really, really good player, and he just doesn't miss many opportunities. We thought we could get the edge on him, but their safeties were very aggressive, got off blocks really well. They just did almost everything right, literally. And offensively, very high-powered, quick-hitting offense. Typically, it's not a real tough offense to figure out. It's flex bone option. So, if you play disciplined assignment football, it's not tough to figure out what to do to stop it. But, when they have just bigger and faster horses than you have, which they did, it was just, at times we played pretty good defense. Other times they'd hit the hole and be gone. And, they're really good. They're really good.
So how did it kind of go early? Was it long drives, or were they quick hitters, and you guys couldn't stop them, or long drives where you couldn't get off the field there?
No, it's quick hitters. They scored on their first play from scrimmage. I think his first name's Cam Noy from Portage Central. He's a sophomore. Took the handoff and went all the way down for a touchdown, I think 70 yards. He's also a really great player, Division I player. He might actually be better or get bigger opportunities than the kid who's going to Central Florida, being that he's only a sophomore. And honestly, right now, I'm not sure if there's a lot of difference between those two kids. They're built the same, and they look the same, and they play very much alike. We got the ball first. We actually got a first down or two, and we seemed to be moving it okay. And then we threw an interception, and we threw quite a few interceptions last night, actually. And, not real big, bad mistakes made by our quarterback, but just lots of pressure on the part of Portage Central, and it just forced some pretty errant throws. I think they had 5 interceptions. And quick hitters. They did put together a couple of drives on us where we were playing pretty decent defense, but just, 4 yards and a cloud of dust, 4 yards and a cloud of dust, and the next thing you know, it's first down, and you just keep doing that, and one hit's big, and, it's a touchdown.
Yeah, well, when you get in a game like that against a team like Portage Central, your kids or anyone's kids can feel like they have to do a little bit more than they're being asked to do, and maybe try to extend themselves a little bit, and then mistakes can happen. Did you see a little bit of that last night?
Yeah, we saw a lot of that. And that's what happens when you feel like your back's against the wall and you're a little bit desperate. You start doing more than what your job is, trying to do somebody else's job because you see they're not doing it the way they should be doing it, and then you just cause bigger problems for yourself. With something we talk about as coaches all the time to the kids is, just focus on doing what you're supposed to do. Don't try to do somebody else's job. But it's tough, when you're a teenage kid and you're in a game like that and you just want to make a play, you just want to make something happen, you want to step up and do something different for your team to rally around. You take those chances.
Right.
And sometimes they work out. So tough to blame the kids for wanting to do more, But you just can't when you're playing an option team like that. You take somebody else's responsibility and try to make a big play because they read you and then they take advantage of the decision you just made.
When you talk about the momentum that you had going into that game, you're coming off a big Lakeview win, and the kids are feeling good about themselves, and then you knew you kind of had Portage Central in front of you there, and you want to maybe hold on to some of that momentum from the previous week because you know you have a lot of season to play, and Lakeview Central has some things in front of it where they can have a really nice season if some things kind of come together. So what was the message after the game to make sure that that kind of happens? Hold on to that good feeling from last week and know that that last night wasn't necessarily the Lakeview Central team that's going to be going forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is we got to focus on taking steps forward every week, win or lose. We're looking to gain momentum, not lose it. And our season is, I'm going to say it's a long season. It's really not a long season, but you have to look at it like it's a long season. And so you can't look at last night as a step back. We've made a lot of progress, and we're still making progress. So focus on the things that we did that were well. Let's fix the mistakes that we had. Recognize that Portage Central is who they say they were, and move on. And so that was the message in the huddle after the team, and even at halftime, really, because we were down, 35-0 at halftime. And I just said, we not likely we're going to come back and win this game, but how we respond is what's important, because we're going to be in these situations again where our back's against the wall, we're facing adversity, things aren't going our well. How are we going to respond? That's what's important. So come out in the second half, try to establish something, try to do some positive things, try to be disciplined, just do what you know you can do, right. And then parlay that into next week, gain some momentum in the second half that can take you into next week to, get another shot.
And that shot is going to come against a division opponent, which is a chance for Lakeview Central to make something happen for themselves in the division. You're playing Lloyd Norris. Talk about what you've seen from them so far and what you got going.
I haven't seen a lot. I mean, they're 1-3. They lost in overtime to Matawan last week, which I'm sure they're reeling about. They have a couple of pretty talented kids, as they usually do. And I'm sure that, they're looking for a bounce back the same way that we are. We travel over there. We've been home the last 2 weeks, so it'll be kind of nice to get back on the road again, to be honest. Homecoming for us this past Friday, and there's always, I'll call them distractions, but just there's a lot of festivities around homecoming. And then you go on the road next week, and things just seem a little simpler. And so we're looking forward to being on the road and being able to just focus on our opponent and bounce back.
Be exciting to see what Lakeview Central does with a chance at Lloyd Norris on the road, a chance to get a win in the division, a chance to move forward in the season where there's still a lot of things to play for and a lot of opportunities at the end of the season if things can go right. We'll look forward to talking about that next week, Coach. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning here after this on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Coach's Corner on WBCK, brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, back here on Coach's Corner. We're here with our next Coach of the Morning here with Coach Mason Converse of the Harbor Creek Beavers. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Bill.
We had Harbor Creek playing in a big city rivalry game. Harbor Creek was hosting Penfield last night, a big game in the city, a big game in the conference, and both teams came into that game 2-1. So we're expecting a lot of fireworks, and it was Harbor Creek giving most of those fireworks. Penfield had a drive early, but you stopped them on fourth down as they are going in, and from there, the momentum really swung Harbor Creek's way, and you put up a couple of touchdowns early, and that kind of set the tone the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, what a great night. We celebrated our track team, back-to-back state champions, and we have so many football players that also run track, and actually, as a whole at Harbor Creek, we have so many student athletes that play 2 and 3 sports, and we really wanted to celebrate that last night. And so that was a great start to the game and a great start to the whole evening. And we knew Penfield coming in as a crosstown rivalry. It was going to be an emotional game. These kids have known each other and played against each other their whole lives growing up. And we talk a lot about toughness. That's one of our pillars. And we knew that toughness was one of the big reasons we won last week. And we challenged our kids this week again to take the toughness to another level. And we wanted them to be tough in last night's game. We wanted them to be stronger than steel. And they showed up. They showed up big and just had a terrific night.
Started out fast, nice touchdown pass and run from Maddox McCartney to Gavin Chapman for 59 yards and a touchdown. And before the first quarter was over, he had a long drive. Cameron Converse had a 14-yard touchdown where he dragged a couple of people through into the end zone, and you're up 15-0 at the end of the first quarter. And in a game like that, how important is that quick start?
So any kind of rivalry game, a quick start is anytime you can get off to a quick start. It's critical for momentum, and football, especially high school football, is such a game of momentum that's really important. So that quick start was big for us. They did put a little drive together to start with, but those are that's like the feeling out period of each game too, where you're trying to figure out what the other team is, because they're good coaches too, and they've got a game plan put in place, and they were trying to nickel and dime us, and I heard Coach Hatton say they were trying to control the clock, and that was evident early on as well too. And we wanted to be able to, once we got the ball, we wanted to be able to score, and we feel like we're pretty explosive on the offensive side, and that showed. We got the ball to Gavin Chapman, and he ran, I think it was like 59 yards for a touchdown, and then we got the 2-point conversion, and so that really got things rolling. But our defense was a big story of the game last night to me. I mean, we held them to 94 yards of total offense, so they didn't even get 100 yards of total offense, and I'm going to give our defensive staff and our defensive players a lot of credit for that. 2 interceptions, 1 pick six, and we created havoc all night last night, and I couldn't be more proud of those guys. And Brock Hibbs, who had 2 interceptions, has really turned into quite a ball hawk in the defensive backfield. He's got 5 interceptions now, and we've played 4 games this year. He's only played in 3, because when we played Cedar Springs a couple of weeks ago, we had a heavy package on defense that we put in, and that meant we had to take out a defensive back. And obviously everybody wants to play, but he did what was best for the team and accepted his role that week. And when he gets in and gets his chances to play, I mean, he's just exploding. And that's what Harper Creek football is all about, is doing what's best for the team. And these guys have bought in. And even Brock Hibbs, talking a little bit more about him, he was a kid that played JV football last year to get more reps, so he was ready to play varsity as a senior. And someone like that has put all the work in over 4 years, to see it come to fruition like it is so far this year, it's really satisfying from a coach perspective, and I'm really happy for him that he's having the season he is so far.
Yeah, Brock Hibbs really took over in the second quarter. You guys had that. You guys took a 22-0 lead on a quarterback sneak by Maddox McCarty, and then there's only 2.5 minutes left there, so maybe it could have gone into halftime at that. But then Penfield's looking to try to make something happen before the half is over, and Brock Hibbs came up with a pick and took it back to the house, 21 yards back for a pick six, and you're up 28-0, and then Penfield still trying to make something happen before the halftime is over, and throws another pass, and Hibbs gets another interception at near midfield with only 17 seconds left. But you guys were able to turn that into a short drive and a field goal right before half, and you're up 31-0 at half on an Alex LaFleur 30-yard field goal, and it had to be a happy conversation at halftime.
Yeah, it was. It's funny how things again can snowball in high school football. It's such a game of momentum, and pressure is one of the keys to our success on defense. And again, Brock Hibbs is such an intelligent player. He knows when we're bringing pressure that the quarterback's going to have to get the ball off within under 2 seconds, and so he's trying to play everything coming downhill. He's seeing the field really well and stepping in front and making plays. He almost had a 3rd interception. He broke on the ball really well and barely missed it on a pass to Johnny Lake, and so he's playing really well. But really, as a whole, our entire defense played well as far as tackling, getting the guys on the ground. They have some dangerous receivers, and they made some plays, and we did a terrific job of tackling last night. And again, to hold an offense that has been putting up points like they have, to hold them to 94 total yards and to shut them out, that's a pretty special outing right there. So I'm really proud of the defense.
So Hibbs has 5 picks already on the season, and he told me last night he already knows what the school record is, and he's going for that. The school record's 7 on the season, and Hibbs has that up on his board. He's thinking about that. But like you said, a nice game all the way around on defense and offense. You guys have been running the ball a lot this season, but last night Penfield looked like they were trying to take that away from you a little bit, and McCarty stepped up and went 12 of 14 passing for 168 yards and a score. Dylan Eversole had 4 catches for 35 yards. When you did run, Kamari Hampton had 80 yards on 10 carries. So being a little bit more diverse, that's going to help you down the road. Is that right?
It absolutely is, and we still rushed for over 200 yards. We had 211 yards on the ground, and Kamari Hampton did lead the charge with that, and we really spread it out with the rest of the guys. And we've got backs that we can bring in waves, and we talk about that. We talk about that all the time in practice, that when somebody needs a blow, the next guy can just step in and can be just as much of a hammer as the previous guy. So that backfield last night, they've really embraced blocking for each other and taking care of the ball for each other, and they ran very well last night. And Maddox, like you said, stepping up, being 12 of 14, that's huge for us, getting the ball to our athletes in space. Dylan Eversole and Gavin Chapman, and let's see who else. Antoine Westry had 2 big catches last night. Logan Converse had a big catch last night. And so all of those guys catching the ball and being able to spread it out, defenses have to honor, or will have to honor, both the run and the pass, which makes us a little bit better offensively and tougher to stop. So when you're clicking on both sides of the ball, it makes for a good night overall. Unfortunately, last night, that's how things were going.
Gavin Rice helped the defense out with a team high 8 tackles. Hibbs and Sean Johnson had 6 stops each. And then we turn the page. You guys are out of conference next week. It's kind of odd to play an out-of-conference game in the middle of the season, but that's how the I-8 schedule is setting up nowadays. And you have Grand Rapids Kanawha Hills team coming to Harbor Creek, and you saw them last year, and you guys have a little something, maybe a chip on your shoulder about that, right?
Yeah, we know they're a terrific team. I think they're ranked in the top 10. They might even be ranked in the top 5 now in Division III. They've got a lot of talent, and had a lot of talent last year. We felt like we let that game slip away with some late in game mistakes. And they play in the River Cities Alliance, which is a group of schools that broke away from the OK Conference, and so they're in a very similar situation to us. They've got 7 teams, and every week there's a different team that has a bye. And schools up in the Grand Rapids area play really good football, and so that's why we went to play Cedar Springs earlier in the season. We wanted that non-conference competition to help prepare us and galvanize us for playoffs, and that's really what this is too. Again, Cedar Springs beat us, and it was a competitive game. We made some mistakes, and we're looking at this game the same way. We want it to be a competitive game, and we want to try and get better as we look to the playoffs. It doesn't have any impact on the league standings, and we're looking long term to try and get ourselves better for the playoffs. And of course, we're going to try and win the game. We want to win the game, but this week, the number one goal is to improve and get ourselves in a better position for the playoffs. And there's no doubt that they're going to be a tough challenge, and should be. They're probably the most explosive offense we've seen all year. So I keep talking about that each week between Coldwater and Penfield and now Kanawha. But we viewed these last 2 weeks as tune-up games for Kanawha, because they're putting up impressive numbers. They scored 49 last night on a Cedar Springs team that's a pretty good defense. So we've got our work cut out for us, and we'll have our boys ready.
What do you see that they do well? Are they a passing team, or are they more run-oriented? What do you got?
Well, I think they're tracking it, because what we've looked at so far, they're literally almost 50-50 run to pass. They've got the Hampton kid who was with Lumen a few years ago, and he's a Division I prospect, and then their quarterback is Grayson Fellows is a Division II caliber quarterback, so he throws the ball around quite a bit, and they've got a really good receiver that's got several Division I offers as well too. So again, they're a well-disciplined, well-coached team, and it should be a good one.
All right, I think it will be exciting there at Harbor Creek at home. Kanawha Hills coming in, a real nice team, a top 10 team coming in for high school football fans. Take a look. We'll talk about that next week. Thanks, Coach, for coming in. We're talking in.
Thanks a lot, Bill.
We'll be back next Saturday for Coach's Corner and talk to all the high school football coaches about another weekend of high school football. Thanks a lot. Be back on WBCK 95.3.
Everything from clothing to household items are getting more expensive each day. American Giant is about keeping things simple and close to home. They aren't affected by tariffs because their products never leave the U.S. Support American-made, tariff-free clothing with American Giant. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code STAPLE20 at american-giant.com. That's 20% off when you use code STAPLE20 at american-giant.com.
Could you pass the chopsticks?
Your company started in a kitchen. Now your office has 3. Your team of 5 grew to an army of 500. And your logo was just hoisted 30 stories high.
Do you think they'll see it from the highway?
I think they'll see it from space.
Your business is big. It's only getting bigger. You need a world-class professional services firm to help you get there. Accounting, advisory, insurance, and more. Purpose-built for the middle market. CBiz. CBIZ.com.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Super Sale and get 40% off paints and stains September 19th through the 24th. With prices starting at $29.39, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Coach, the energy out there felt different. What changed for the team today?
It was the new game day scratchers from the California Lottery. Players everything. Those games sent the team's energy through the roof.
Are you saying it was the off-field play that made the difference on the field?
Hey, a little play makes your day, and today, it made the game. That's all for now.
Coach, one more question.
Play the new Los Angeles Chargers, San Francisco 49ers, and Los Angeles Rams Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.